Mont Saint-Is, hide themselves in a dark alley, had a patiently Tachibon, or garbled on the passenger of the car like this, or to the lookout of the mysterious person in the dark. He was even some good feelings. Once opened the lattice door. There is a dirt floor of about 1 square meters. Triassic of the entrance was immediately with a staircase to the second floor from there. The man went up the stairs in silence. Yamano Mrs. Y and the man are still queued. According to the left, disabled man's feet, using both hands like a child. Step by step the stairs went up sluggishly. Yes, Mrs. Wall waiting below. I thought like a crab that said they like climb wearing a stone wall. The second floor was a tube between the cutting of a 6-mat and Yojohan. The man entered the 6-mat tatami room. Was fully built and perfect. The brand would not be helped. I was standing, because there is a cushion. Please spread your control freely. But, Mr. Yuri, it came at last, the man said with a laugh. Kimiwaru-ku. And I also take a piece of cushion. He sat down on the remains of the mantle. Hiroshiku, very difficult to bend the foot. It takes a long time. Sat barely. Yokozuri. It has become unpleasant stiff. What about is more relaxed? He is on the lookout for, such as a snake. From the back of the glasses looked at his wife. I do not have anyone here either. Yuri is sitting small towards the corner, said, and Chun was caught. Is something like, not well. Though I are hired your distant old woman. You are told her so as not to issue a face and thought it would be unpleasant. Deaf also because it is the same old lady. Okay. Not leading frame feel heard. I was a great voice. Quote, the man took off a large Toriuchi bohead konmuri. Up to that time, below that it grew be disordered. Short hair was matted. Strangely is. Thus take off the hat. His sogo is looked hen rattle. Well, looking at it, Yuri drew a breath in surprised. Ha 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 ha. This right man is the oyster turning in the manner. This head kudzu. I do look different face. This position of the do not be surprised by. I may be more severe. But whatever it was. You're already mine. Not a thing that can escape. Tad escape it. Because I'm a ruin of your body, if Niger. The man prefaced the ugly wrinkles on the nose. Was a bizarre laugh the way he was take off the mask little by little. Began to reveal the brutal identity. Ring ha 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 ha. He laughed like a mad, suddenly bare teeth. Yuri's. Oh, now what his own is in this way. I can be calling to you. I can be called like a lover. For 10 years himself had kept calling the name out of the chest. What happened if you know that? There is not supposed to be standing. It is possible that you can throw away their hope. But, he ain't come true now. Like it is happy like a dream. Yuri's. Nanti me love me. Do not ask us such unreasonable things. A man of this unfortunate born. Please NDE mercy. Do not hate my evil plotting. Had to be to do so. Please sash my sad mood. Man is completely changed in intimidating attitude. It was entreated while the writhing, unawares, long body of mantle appearance, taken sideways, like a bizarre Nagamushi, while wriggle, came closer to the people of Yuri. You are a who? I know do not you. Who is who? Yuri, while more shrugged his only towards the corner, shouted at a wazoo voice. Do you want to know it? Well, I'll tell me now. Man which was lying, happening splashed as climb fly. And I think that whether or lengthened hand abrax towards the electric lamp. And he hear a snapping. Suddenly the room went black. On the second floor of the shutters are completely Sue. Since the outside of the dim gate lights also outside the traffic there is no light. It was a true dark in the room and disappears electric lamp. Yuri misses among them. Was there staring at the direction you were of staring man with a certain attitude. She was afraid to exposure truth of this time of the incident more than anything else. In order to keep the secret was incredibly prepared for the unexpected. It must be concealed any sacrifice. And, in her no maids, but I did not have a Hashitanaku screen like, but still, Good may unexpected fear of breast sides could not also be used to do with the out-trembling jumpy. I thought whether come jump even now. Man had hid the strange in sounds for a while from the corner of the other side of the room. I mixed the sounds that say something rattling had just come. His rough breathing is heard. Is not that be surprised or off the unexpectedly electricity? Please check early. Not equal. You return me. Yuri is by force in a casual voice. Shot a good strong will only bing. If go home thing. Back lookin'. Useless tat said such a strength shy. You've got I cannot go home I what happened to. It is have turned off the electricity. Because don't you scared? Then, a chuckle, such as chilling, came echoing from the darkness. Will you have forgotten? But thing of long ago, the first time there was out of the fields and mountains, and the other 10 years. The hour, minute, was innocent daughter, you were still the cottage. You were well ahead of wife came to play to the place. Era that Yamano of residence was in Nishikata of town. I would remember. I am one of you is the face of that. That came to enter and exit from that time to occasionally Yamano of residence because it wanted to see. But such a thing have got a show to care pretend himself as he was not a body that can be mysterious love of being average. That the world had the ends give up everything. It is what the cause and effect are Yuri's. Even give up only about you. I'm giving up out. It may further or to Sushikar Oshiyu there many times that I thought I would myself to die. When you enter daughter-in-law to the place of Yamano etc. Really put a dagger to the flashlight. You even there have been to see you. Himself as he was so languishing. Would be good to me wondering a little inconvenient. It was a painful voice of Choppy. It is the time that the first beat of the war drum in the darkness came closer as creeping towards Yuri. The fact is the voice of the main little by little seems coming Nigerio to little by little. Her people, spirit of wriggling black ones, was felt progressively familiar. Yuri was a strange feeling, just afraid of the rather. What way? Such as being attacked by a creepy beast. It was a strange greatness. And the strange thing is, while you are listening to the confession of the other party, to the tenacity such as the snake had started feeling a certain charm. It is rather than mercy no information, was a more physical kind of nostalgia. Things suddenly soft as traveling around wearing her knee. Not also given time to escape. Brax shook her hand. Cold sweaty man of palm was felt. Era. Yuri is, by raising the involuntarily low cry, tried to Hinaso pretend it, but man of the hand that convinced is tenaciously like a rice cake. Were not easily separated. Not only they do not leave, went tightening her delicate fingers gradually strong force. At the same I began to hear at the same time strange sound. Yuri thought first, whether the man is a cough. Kohan, rang vigorously throat and Kohan. But, soon it changed the sound of sipping the nose. And kukakukukukukukukuku suddenly happened as a sob convulsively like voice. I man had burst into tears. He tightened the hand of Yuri. Dropped her drips in tears the arm. Kept crying as crazy even in the gas. Yuri has been drawn to the man of passion. She imperceptibly also, while remember the strange excitement, left to leave the one hand the mercy of a man, had heard his cry in silence. Feel of the terror that befallen like rain on top of the hand. Her fear went softened little by little. Mr. Yuri. The man in Mom Nikijakori called the many times her name. Then, his one hand, like a large insect, walked the whole body of Yuri in 5 legs. Crossed the band from the knee. Crawling over the Muzugeuku milk. Sliding a gentle shoulder. A depression of the spine. Was turning stroked as comforting. Yuri is through the thin kimono. A soft palm sweaty jitahito. As was even touched on the skin directly. Was eerie feel, but, it is in spite of was grossly eerie. Appeared in that you have the power to doubtful also paralyzed her donin at the same time. she was imperceptibly lost its resistance force. Therefore, touching the face or cheek was flushed the man. Hot tears wet her chin. Sigh. Such as the flame is. Even her breathing and intermingled. Both she like dispels it did not. But, after a while, suddenly I make a cry of her fear. Was a hurry and fled like himself from the arm of a man. In the meantime, she was noticed to change not scary there had happened to the body of the opponent. Her hands from before Sai had explored the unconscious man's body. Then, when I suddenly touched towards the foot, that I thought only to have him until now sitting, was discovered that by enlargement to the full the actual deformity to short legs. Standing, his face was in the same height as her face. And yet although she is sitting, was the opponent is up caused apparent. In other words, man as imperceptibly, was the had turned into unusually low spinal deformity children. She realized all the circumstances in a moment. The man by kudzu and glasses and jacket, in the same manner as had been disguised tonight. He himself abnormal is not only one of the disguise appearance. It his identity such a damned had been hidden and the other one back. Kobayashi tailed in Mont Saint, was discovered in the clerk of the department store. There is no difference in that dwarf what was this man, and a man who threatened her, and the man who did the sinful mischief by cutting the corpse of Machiko is, that it is the same person at all. For I'm such notice until now, but rather was in Magakuo 10 million it was long years that he is 10 years. Also had not opened hid a painful love, hidden in the shadow of such a crime, is taking advantage of her weak body. Also was poised to its thoughts. Is he if was also scary deformity children see. It is a translation not indeed impossible. When the opponent is seen as the dwarf, it said that how determined the resolution. She could not take it anymore. In such a monster, and I think was feeling a strange charm in a little while. Shizo, and down my spine was getting cold. Shisha struggled Mojiro pretend the arm of the two the one and monster. But, your opponent and see that she realized, was Dakasukume the victim's +1 salt force. The physical strength of frantically said that deformity children was not able to do resistance or weak woman of Urias. Dumon missed had it too late to escape. He summoned a strained rough voice. View upright if make a voice. But good, Salah, never forget my death. If such a thing will ruin of thy body. You see, as family of destruction Yamano, dwarf is entangled around the waist of Yuri which climbed cause. While side by side threatened complain. Look at like flinching from their opposition. As viewed from the short legs to her feet. Tried to defeat her with terrible force. Yuri is deprived of the freedom to shout to you scream. Also to try to escape. Lose escape force. Was the feeling you are like nightmares. Deformity children as eerie mollusks. In close contact with her half-length to Petari. The arms that tighten around the waist. Was going to increase its power every moment. Kobayashi Mont is to put up with the Uso Samui. It had stood at the entrance of the Shuin Bakaku alley. It will be the still say that late at night. The town was unpleasant to dark and static. Any house also. If there was a vacant houses. Damari Koku, flush against the body in the alley of the plate fence like a bat. And looking at the dim traffic. Things occasionally, such as a gray shadow has passed a smooth stop. But it's of no difference in human beings. It does not make the slightest sound. The feeling that something Mononoke was. Because he felt the spirit of Yamano his wife went up to the second floor. And do not come even leak by chance speech. But listened and looked up at the person. Is a quiet in the closed shutters. Even the shadow of Denghua did not bite. I suddenly thought is heard something. And so Bidateru the ear. Was there come hear the cry of a baby, without the force from the side of far away. Mont Saint this a few days. To escape the boredom of a long time. Was able intense taste the variable becomes tense feelings. He thought is found the raw outside barely in this world. Is incorporated zone in the midst of a bizarre crime. also put on airs the amateur detective. But he seems a child was quite interesting. Than that, until now, such a feel to something different levels of the opponent. Yamano wife even was stand to hear the mouth. I think also not over. It came close to him in a tone of casualness. I was happy more than anything else. He is in the pretext that if Machiko even visited the Yamano house if any chance, was haunted in the affairs of his wife. And finally I was able to hold the secret of Mrs. the songs that love is. But he was extraordinarily sensitive. Mrs. every move, could not be spared any trivial matter, also his monitoring. He realized the secret meetings of the evening in the same way as your snow maid. And, in your snow did the trick cannot be imitated. He is agile and with the acquisition of a passenger of the car of the Phantom War also. I was finally able to locate the hideout, and pulled out a Kogoro Agechi of experts. And I think, holding the clue that do not know to his dream. Mont Saint was a terribly good, but, whether it was bizarre person of the other party, what like stick his registration, suddenly, somewhere, but did not also do not feel like a person who was once there. I do not know even a little bit more than that, the known, he was too, and that you are threatening her soaking in the weakness of his wife. And his wife had a scary secret something, is moving to the left of the man of the meaning complacent. But, whatever the secret to his wife, Mont Saint could not bring myself to hate her. Hard to the was a man of the opponent. He felt intense jealousy against man, frail wife, and I think by now have met any eye out for him. The gas was crazy phase. A variety of ugly scenes were flickering in vividly to the eyes of the above. Was a man, such as a beast in there. There was a figure of the charming, distraught wife. He felt the physical pain and think it. I did not know or tried to dive into the many times the house. But, was Fumi Dodoma in small quantity to guess the trouble of Mrs. Wait even be waiting they did not have the state come out. Almost an hour before Sai also stood in the darkness. Delusion had just raised. It could not be any more patience. And just at that time, he heard what seems a woman scream from the direction of the second floor. I thought is. He is a body of frantic, opened the violently latticed door when entering the gates. Go sorry. In the house he had returned subside with the scene. I do not have anyone. He yelled in a loud voice even 3 times even twice. But had no reply. He opened the front door of Shoji to take the plunge. But still have a peek at the middle to open the sliding doors of the boundary between the next room. Does not come out anyone. There was no shadow of people in there. Mont Saint is. Where was accused event? What the heck escape of the road is enclosed high when I arrived. He is the habit of cowards. There was a very reckless staring place in whether you. He suddenly went up to the front door to take off your shoes. But because it was in a hurry indeed. Did not notice that the Yamano wife of footwear is not visible to the bottom of the dirt floor. When you open 1 cup of wheat bran, it's depressed to the next living room seems to the room. I looked to open the border of bran and between the back. One of the dirty do not seem old woman in there. Was sitting in the shark with such innocent face from Hatcher and dozing. Arima is not at all propose we'll find alike anyone. The old woman in the face Najiri, said in a loud voice. I'm sorry, because that there is no reply also much call. Here will Yamano wife is visible. In fact, I came to the sudden errands as possible in Yumukai. Alike anyone, but now my husband is there your absence. Old woman Rashiku of hearing, was an absurdity reply. Within Mont Saint is that a few words questions and answers. Is frustrating. Not to the other parties such as the old woman. Open without permission its side of the shoji screens and wheat bran. Was looking for the whereabouts of Yamano wife. But, in the downstairs to where the cut where there is a narrow outside the kitchen also empty did not appear. He do not ask also to stop the old woman. Went up to the second floor. At any moment whether is yelled to someone. But went up the stairs and even defensive. In that stranges, there was no spirit of the people there as well. In the second floor of the two between cutting towards its 6 tatami mats, with a dark electric lamps. Furniture was also neat tidy. As strangely garong, how the head of the people until now did not appear anywhere. This man, well, what that Nasaro, that reckless husband, is not that to say that it is your absence. In my other I do not have one animal cat of the child. The old woman and comes with up to unconcernedly the second floor. While monitoring the Mont Saint, it was grumbling muttered, but I saw a place sure to enter into this house. Do not strange, you'd have to say a lie. But what you said, it was not true for most old woman. She gradually increased the voice. At length screamed, such as hear the neighbors. La Mont Saint sought to open one by one as well, such as closet, but was looking for a house without dark circles. Was not as one animal cat child went the old woman, because of the front door back door to that as had been monitored. To he is not supposed to, not stuck in his eyes if his wife who was Wakashi out of the house, and heard him went from table sounds, to the gap that they are like that escape from the back door. It was impossible. There is no reason would be of such a margin. In other words, it was not considered only with had vanished in this house. Mont Saint was a feeling that was also pinched in Foxon again. The idea to see if this time of the incident, strangely again and again, also happened to be the same kind of. Machiko was also lost in the room. Examples creepy dwarf of, no longer disappear while went to the chestnut yo Minamoto Terra. And tonight is a turn of Yamano wife. Mont Saint was sick. While he scolded the old woman, I was out of that to dejectedly home. What we are somehow these days his own head. Or, what villains have knowledge in Shinpen wonder of witchcraft. I really do, which is true. As if it was felt such as that nightmares. He walked the dark town looking for a train road. Had suddenly heard a child of the hour and minute. Remember the story of fox or raccoon dog has bewitched the people. That such absurd fear. His spine and was comb cold. Suspicion. The next morning, Kobayashi Mont is a strangely blurred face. Appeared at the entrance of Yamano house. He is a nightmare during the overnight nightmare. The dream and the last night of the event is to me remixed. How far is whether it is how far a dream in reality was a feeling not well known. It was also totally feel like a lie, perhaps because of the gas. Yamano's mansion gave a somehow different feel from the previous. Or have debris fell into the gravel road of Mononai. Or have accumulated dust at the entrance of the in-soul base. You not only open the second floor of the shutters half, all of the state are things lonely. Looked at Susan. Also Yamaki of student leaving the agency had a strangely pale face. Mont Saint is that it would be Yamano wife as in a no mama also missing. It was just disturbing. Wife. He is in the manor look into towards the back, I asked in a small voice. I do not welcome. Mont Saint was scaring and hear it? From when? What? Yamaki is a strange face, saw the Mont Saint. It will have know your way back from last night. No, I just nasu without you to the places just now a catchy of. Oh, Akechi's to Toko, Mont Saint went to in rapid talking the shy hidden. He had turned red with kindness. Well, the last night was not Odamashi to somewhere. Last night was welcome to your relatives Katamachi. Student replied with nonchalant. In, has become your way around what time? It was around 9 o'clock. Student was the also funny face. Still Mont Saint speaking of 9 o'clock was the hour and minute that had been hanging around in that dark alley. He was no longer more and more no. Yamano or Mrs. were able to get out why that strict watch. Such a thing is far from impossible. If you, whether last night's was only after all the nightmare of Ichija. He wanted to see Med and Rabbit also the corner once his wife. Well, I will come to still Akechi's Toko. Yes, because I was with just now going out. I do not be followed separately and Mont Saint while the getting ready. was asked, suddenly noticed. That's what the general of disease. I like not very much good. He does takaku. I nurse came to come to people from this morning. Somehow very much. And I is the mess in the inner. To there. Komatsu made is. Last night I do not go back hut. Which came out to say that going to the doctor. Quote. Speaking of Komatsu, it's there, which was sleeping, said something about a headache. Yeah, or make a phone call to the clue. Did you or did the use? But it is so far missing. And also, I know very early on would rid people of the police is coming. Wife alone in this morning. The police, whether with even something clue. Lamont Satan's was one by one ace did not say feelings. It is useless. Nothing you do not ya known, student went to as exhalation. That of one arm of the parcel of example. Will has been notified from Akechi's. In. You come to look it up? One armed incident of that loud department stores. The daughter of incidents out that there is a relationship minute because those sue. I started commotion finally to really be in the police. This is why. Is it that you no longer daughter? That the husband had been in confidential until now. Have gone completely known. Even more disease I was getting worse. It is in fact unreasonable. Not Pom Rokurokume is also the night I was to us. Quote. Student is frown acne-faced showed spilled exaggerated. Mont Saint is resigned Yamano house and would hear much. Was for the inn of Akechi of Akasaga to follow the trail of his wife. A variety of things had wound moya and swirl in his head. Question of the person seemed to like to go increasing number day by day. Bizarre dwarf of the first examples. The driver took the spare time Fukiya. Man of the last night of strange glasses. Now also have made Komatsu disappearance. It Yuri wife to his beloved also. The difference in the people of the vortex it was the no. Because not a never dream last night of it. Be interpreted in much favor. Mrs. It's sure that plays a fairly important role in this incident. Given worse. His wife is a stepchild is for her 3 cents he was also able to suspect that it has to kimono such. Something of means. Mont Saint was bumped into often this fear correct question from last night. As scaring not think every strike. It came in by force thinking outside of it. But, not only he is not never hate Mrs. even if the suspicion was the fact event. There is no difference in the effort to keep the secret fear rather revelation of the crime with her. And, as a permanent ties between her that holding the weakness of such a wife. He might rejoiced me, a kind of longing for his wife, during the last few days. Had been brought up so much. I sway. He could not afraid of the talent of Akechi. If he was able to discover the culprit of successfully Machiko murder. And, the criminal if I were Yuri Mrs. Grave outside. And I think the gas was not a gas. He is also from such meaning wanted to explore how there once Akechi. Weeping. My surely there is such a thing. If there's a place guilty to his wife. To will not ask from the beginning something Akechi. Last night of today. Coherence does not match also because her people visit the Akechi from. Could a little peace of mind and think of it. While indulged in such pensive. The train had arrived to stop field of someday purpose. If you have not issued a loud voice conductor. He was about to be a careless riding past when the visit Kakusuin. But was immediately passed to Akechi of the room. There was no appearance of Yamano Mrs. Purpose in all alone Akechi there. A Yamano's wife does not look or. While Lamont Saint sat first heard about it. Now it where it was come back. Having met as early as the other pair. Akechi came to the Mont Saint by smile never change face. Is that so? I was coming in a hurry. It seems. Did you find also in the subsequent something clue? Also unlike age and social status. Mind ease of an old boarding house friends. Was lightly with mouth, and Mott had been some thought up in the last night of adventure. Though he of such amateur is Senadamyo serious secret. Like that seems to Akechi. Which is said to detective does not yet know what is. Frustrating even there. There was even pleasant to no small extent. No, I do not even think about Saiyan discovery. Akechi was calm. This incident is quite flame, however unlikely. Is not that progress does not suit you too slow. Mont Saint became one to see clever with such mouth. I read the complexion of Akechi as Hatcher from Gone, and quite it because it is a strange affair, but Akechi is neither separately angry state. Began to still smiling. Anyway, that's right, you was much activity last night. Then something clue towards me. One or do not we listen to it? I do not put in the middle, corner of you. Mont ended up suddenly red. Whether Akechi's is why knowing the last night of the event. There was no wonder the specification. His smiling face seemed to those suddenly bad thin feeling. You are? But might think I heard something from now Yamano wife. The worry is not. His wife never did not Kanzuki the disguise of you. Akechi went to read the facial expressions of Mont Saint on Takumi. His wife is a nothing is no longer said. Try to hide even an inch was it these days. I even to look state in which regret having asked the detective. So, also came today. In the order you want to find the early culprit without, or I are exploring the truth as far. Those jumpy. It came it to elicit. Well, do you think his wife is something related to this time of the crime? Mont Saint wanted to know Sakoi of Akechi. That their relationship is clear. Being to why Mrs. asked the detective to something I voluntarily, and whether began to regret it is now. This point is not well known. Is roughly that woman itself it is one of the question. There is very also virtuous of the way. Also looks full coquette place and whether you an inch capture there is no office. So, perhaps she is. And show me out throw the status of this incident in front of me. Might try to strike a bolder play. Fear that secret barrel is fully believed that there is no. You might have enclosed the Taka woman to the criminals, but that there is the kind of quirky quote. If so, it is a translation that has occurred recently in the incident, such as losing their self-confidence. I'm working middle people with this. If dark spots behind it to her, it is not unreasonable to begin to worry. You something. I think as I was playing Sukane the hand would have. But why? I'm not such a thing. In fact at your last night of action. It because he is completely known. Quote. I say I last night of action if. Lol. It is useless even if sheer back here. Because I'm with a studied until the number of motor vehicles. Carcoon went and put the other man in last night his wife in disguise to the assistant. But my no dat you. 2,936 a number of. Well last night, do you really also was hiding somewhere? Sora see. I'm finally confessed to had. Imagination. Maybe because what I thought it was you. I insatiate the buy. When I saw over a sickle. Made that your snow of the Yamano I confidant of you of. When the second time were examined one by one to hire people to go to a Scorbaden. He began culling from appropriate, of course reward but promised. Most among because that your snow hireling in loyalty person. And say it because of your residence. I'm willing, in people helpful woman who heard my favor. Of it was tailing after the wife last night. Me remember the number of motor vehicles it. Then earlier by telephone from your snow. Because he is my own has been found dispatched to interrogation was. Car number. The Choba in locating the is not translation. Choba is found in the driver minute lever. Also now top to completely arrive. Kun seems cab being asked to man investigated in a single 5 yen bills. Became also clear that the man was pursued after the 2 passengers. But I did man is quite cautious. Which brought out a wife. Guy that was accustomed to evil. Did not the purpose. Such as riding in the car until the front of the house up. Soda within me went with you guys I do not know. Because it was stopped the car Honjo Nakanogo T-Town. In my imagination. But I think that if not a non-merchant with a small gate of the same Nakanogo Ocho. That's what? Quote. That's right. Why we understand. Mont Saint is taken aback to name police of Akechi. I'm going to put them in order of Mrs. in the secret. Cried forgotten about. What I thought was so. Well, I will be the story completely because mechanisms before that. I have a thing to show. Akechi is from the Tabunko. And Toda Summit, the piece of paper torn elongated, gently stretched the wrinkles, side by side on a table, was seemed to align the order. When Akechi would be seeming a strange beetle, placed by impelled it in a corner of the table, was taken out one after another variety of goods from the Tabunko. Examples: piano of black metal, western hairdo, needle, hatsuyans on the spring of a lot of cosmetics, which was brought from the dressing table of Machiko. Blotting paper of a fingerprint with on the desk of Machiko. May of enigmatic no plaster of pieces of spring, such as a net shawl, a small women's equity handbag, one photograph, 3 links of the letter. It only of memorabilia the like as the antique dealers of the night stall. Arranged placed Zerari and tabletop, still outside, in the bottom of Tabunko where stale felt sandals were left pair. Kobayashi Mont is a look at the scene. This amazing had been taken aback. The goods originating no difference in the evidence goods of all this time of the incident. But when did Akechi is a collection of those only of this? Also not ask one by one the explanation, just by looking at the mono state. To Akechi until just a little while ago Daite was for some of the contempt of the just in case. A trace was also gone. University Kobayashi-kun. A sign that I was not lazy. This memorabilia will soon leave my hand, because the Tamura prosecutors of my friends was Goku, in charge of this time of the incident. Everyone that man I estimate that I'll pass on only this much if will tone plus of no far from the do not become plus. This enough. If upon examination, tat nothing without this struggling, can grab the truth of the incident as not sitting might be in, before leaving my hand, trying to get it look at once to you because it is just a good opportunity. Kimi is also the introducer of this time of the incident. Theirs in your own people is also an avid amateur detective place because like, but I'm a secret, so to speak occupationalist to me. It is a translation especially applied to your eyes. Instead, my decision for this memorabilia is not referred to at all. Although not it, refrain difference that say I. As you also know, I until case is completely resolved. I'm a habit of not talk something half-hearted imagination. Quote, Akechi while turning Hinokori to us to caress their goods, went smiling Usawara that made the bottom an inch. Father of the antique dealer was dressed that are also in the thrift valued boomy. Do or start for many, he looked or else merrily. I had begun talking about early home of Ocho, but I like you was surprised. Actually, there is such a species. It is this torn beetle. An inch reading seen to May. It is paper of the amount of about half of the paper sheet, on which was torn up finely. If there are some places burned, but will probably what a piece of the letter could not be read very completely. Your request by burial, specifications, and 3 people only to you. Right for initially claimed in such combinations your rigging of Fukiya of Toga yours truly. Saru Uedo. Township table. 12 characters worth unknown. 63. Nakamura. Top of your read is always in the fire. What more did not know even review? That the destination of your Sakuyu was To. But from complaint of this township table commenting, because 63 that theirs is not considered only the address, street name, which corresponds to Kaminogu table. Nakanogo Cho in Tokyo not of the outside I saw went immediately to the Escorbaden. Translation without Nakamura, entered into apartment Beijing and found a house with a small gate that came out of the nameplate. In was also the grandmother of the deaf husband but had said that it seems white-collar worker not know whether true, but the person did not like to show the appearance of Nakamura. I had studied that house itself, and various realized the place was also. If Wakashi imagined me is that it is sure. This incident is interposed his really scary person in. That person of the curse is the whole affair to be very complicated. But that person is not a scary murder culprit. The culprit seems to have more elsewhere. So, until you find the real culprit. But I'm sorry, the devil do not go to expose the reason his identity. I'm afraid to miss the real culprit. Quote, Lamont Saint thought frustrating around tedious speech of Akechi. Speaking of the Akechi, there is no difference to the person who brought out the Sakuyu Yamano wife. That dubious man is threatened is obvious. But, if that man is not a criminal, of those who are threatened, Yuri misses stepmother for the Machiko what? Or mither than a scary killer. He thought as there is no thinking like outside the Akechi, no difference to also suspect the Yamano wife. But whether really thinks of her as culprit was unknown. It is but this piece of paper as you found out from where. Mont Saint, as if to clear the point, I feel like something understand phase did. I'm my confidant of your snow gave me picked up letter of receiving the Lord's wife of Yamano Street and the wife of here complain. Tearing through finally since I read. Rounded. In a charcoal stove in the kitchen though was cube too. He is your snow picked up softly. Since the fire fortunately charcoal stove was small. I thought his wife got burnt. Who in was left only this. Envelope is completely turned to ash was the will but I'm sorry. Bing to become the much clue just this. Quote, when the Mont Saint hear much, I thought finally his doubt is it was possible Kemeru in, and the recipient of the letter is that it is his wife. Because this, by your request, it is by your request of his wife. Because, burial, is not maybe horses to somewhere corpses Machiko I do. Then, it means there is a name of his wife in front of this. And 3 people of yours truly and Fukiya only. Quote, he went to promote the imagination to the arrow next early. And, in fact, I was asked the expression of Akechi while scared. May be considered in that way. Bing concluded cannot offend her if the assertion is gone I Yamano wife and Poles. But I do not care. Akechi was a laugh how that made the bottom grinning. But it's not that there is no thinking like the outside. When the Mont was the enthusiasm not to places not induce vomiting is real intention to Akechi. Had paid Kiyatsu as if you were going to Edogawa his wife. Still to be by there is a material other, Akechi. And this shawl and handbag. Then it is sandals in this tabunko. This is because when everyone Machiko's running away from home. But goods that are said to have been wearing. Meyer Snow of the 3 dishes Yamano misses it was me find out from the corner of the closet of the room. Quote, thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.